Ladies, welcome to the Feminine Mystery. My name is Azalea Dawn, and on my channel I talk about leveling up, hypergamy, and getting the right masculine provider for you. So if any of that sounds right for you, then check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Today we're going to be talking all about your teens and your early 20s and all of those things that I think that you should be doing when you're in that early stage of life versus the things that I think you should really not be doing in, like those early days. Now, this is going to be a bit of like a different video for my channel. I know that my core demographics, as far as like women go, like a lot of the women who follow me are, 25-ish to let's say like 34 in like those core like dating and marriage years. But maybe there are some of you, or somebody who's like a little bit younger. Maybe they're just heading off to college at like 18 and they are, like looking for some advice on all of the things that they can do to level up. How can they get their future to go in a little bit of a better direction, and what are some things that they should really be keeping in mind? I am going to give some advice here that is going to be very, very, very candid. I am holding no punches. I am taking no prisoners. We are really going to go for it here and be a little vicious, let's say, about all of the things that you should do to put yourself in the best position to really have like an affluent and luxurious future ahead of you. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first thing I really think that you should think about if you're in your, teens and early 20s is college, right? And specifically leveraging college to meet quality men. Now, I'm not saying that you should focus on being in a relationship in college and focus on, just like finding a boyfriend and that's it. Like, that is not what I'm saying at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I think that if you get a boyfriend, you're probably going to be like overcommitted. You're going to lean a lot on this one guy, when really what you need to do is be meeting many, many, many different guys, right? Very many high quality men in this stage. And I really want to sit here and explain this a little bit, because a lot of you just don't know this, but in America in particular, there is a very unequal system. There are Nepo babies is a huge trend at the time that I'm making this video. And honestly, the entire thing is it's happening, but honestly, Nepo babies are the future. Nepotism is where it's at right now. That's just the trend of society. A lot of boomers and Gen Z, not Gen Z, what is it, X, I don't know, 40 and 50-year-olds, they did not make it very far in life, due to the 2008 financial collapse, whereas many people who did, they really made it out big because of how much money accrued in the financial system, and in terms of investments in the years following, and they were able to treat their, families to incredibly lavish lifestyles. So they really went for it with excellence because they saw, the unequal opportunities in America at that time. So a lot of people, they chose to send their kids to, these fancy, private boarding schools, like St. Albans, which is a school in Washington, D.C. for boys. And those, fancy boarding college prep schools are funneling 18-year-olds left and right into these Ivy League colleges at rates no other, and it's very lavish. They will literally fly you in a helicopter for your college admission interview. It is really that crazy. It's more than you would believe. And that's the thing, if you are not in, then you're kind of getting left behind, and there's so many barriers being built up right now that you really have to understand that college is going to be your time, the only time in your life most likely where you are actually exposed to people who are from these affluent backgrounds. That's the only time that you're really going to be able to get your foot in the door with them. If you are somebody who right now you're 18 and you are able to get into a very good school Columbia or Harvard, obviously all the Ivies, but even a non-Ivy school that's just very highly regarded, a Rice University, University of Texas, Austin, Texas AMU, or any big research institution, even Penn State, or just I don't know, I'm just like listing off schools, Georgia Tech at this point, like you get the idea. Any school that's really good at what they do, where the affluent are sending their kids right now, like this is the time when you're actually going to be like around those people, because like when you're like 34, trust me, it's not going to be such a like you have the opportunity to meet like hundreds of people from like affluent families and affluent financial backgrounds. So you really want to take advantage of that now and get to know people, because the network that you form in college is really going to see you through the rest of your life. Like the guys that you get to know now and the people, the circles that you run in now, if you nurture those relationships, those can go on to provide you like dating opportunities, networking opportunities, even job opportunities. If you're really like career oriented, it can go on to provide you all of that for like the next like 5 to 10 years. Like it's crazy. Even like beyond that, like when you're like 40, you can still be, you know, like in with people that you went to college with if you really like nurture those relationships over time. So it's very important that you really lean on them. And even if you are at a school right now where you are not doing like, you're not at like the best school, basically like you really want to like pay attention to whatever opportunity you can get your foot at the door, in the door at like a bigger school. So like if you're in like advertising, like consider like networking with like people who are in like the business school at your college. Consider like networking with like, I don't know, like people who are like, if you're like 22 and you're like in advertising and PR, like consider like getting in a social circle with like guys who are like, I don't know, 24 and like they're in the school of dentistry. Like all of that stuff. Also, like consider like things like research experiences for undergraduates, because like if you are maybe at a school that is not like super high tier, like a Georgia State, and you have like a good GPA, like maybe you have like a 3.6, 3.7 out of like 4.0, and you are like a STEM major, you can like go to a school like Columbia as a student for the summer and you can do research, which will give you the opportunity to like be there for like 3 or 4 months, and you will like do research, maybe you'll take classes, you'll do a project, whatever it is, and you'll actually get paid for that, which is like crazy. Yes, like you get paid a stipend instead of having to pay tuition, and then you get to like expand your like social circle to all the people who go to Columbia. So like pay attention to opportunities like that and try to get yourself in the most strategic position in college, because this is like your peak exposure to all of these affluent people. You're never going to be in a situation in life again where you're exposed to like this many people who are all like from an affluent background. Alright, the next thing that I would suggest is not overcommitting too early in relationships. Now this really does go back in a way to networking, but like anytime that you have like a bunch of young women, like you tend to be like very like high achievers, and people who like young women who are high achievers also tend to like struggle with setting appropriate boundaries. So that's the thing, like when you are like very young, you don't understand that like you don't need to like pledge your entire life and entire soul to like this random guy that you just met in college. Like you really don't. Like you can just have like a cute little moment and let it be what it is, and not have it be like, oh my god, this is forever, this is like the next like 40 years of my life, we're gonna be together and then we're gonna be old and then we're gonna like die together, like literally. No. Honestly, just skip all of that. Just have your situation in college and let it be cute. Normally, like I say, like no sex before monogamy, but in college, this is your time. Have the sex before monogamy. Have the sex when you're not committed. Like, just do all the things that you want to do. Like, and if you have like a boyfriend or like a situation, just let it be cute. Don't have it be so serious. If it really does go somewhere that is very positive for you, if this is a great guy, if you really feel like he has, you know, the potential to create a future for you that you want materially, then by all means go for it if that does happen for you. But if like this is just like a guy, you're having fun with him, you really like the story of how you met, and you're, you know, like having a lot of fun, like just basically dating him, okay, that's great, but just like let it be that. Like you don't have to make it everything in the world. So that's what I would say. Don't like overcommit too early in your relationships. Leave room for there to be like other stuff that goes on after college. The third thing you want to think about is learning to date for lifestyle just as much as you date for love. So this is like a little bit like in the theme of this channel, we talk a lot about hypergamy, right? Dating and marrying up. You don't want to date down, you want to marry up. So dating somebody who is wealthier than you, dating somebody who has a higher social status, somebody who can afford you opportunities that you would not get if you were just, like dating like Joe Schmo, like wherever. And this is the thing, like you really have to like be realistic, because like, yes, like you can love somebody, but love is not enough. I am like telling you from experience, it is not enough. Think about like what your life would really be like with this low value man. Like I, like once upon a time, like back in the day, I knew this guy. He was gorgeous, like this long flowing mane of like dark hair, just like very like guitar player, like rocker, just a band guy. And like he was very hot. Everybody wanted to everybody wanted to get with this guy, and I was, basically with him. But the thing is, like, I was just like with him for a cute little moment, and I'm so glad about that now, because let me tell you, his life went nowhere. He basically went to like Iceland or something for years to like make techno music, and now he's like back in America like years later, just like working as like a shift manager at like a fast food restaurant. He had no future prospects, let me tell you something. And had I gotten pregnant with this guy's baby, or decided that this is my guy and I'm gonna like marry him, oh gosh, no. And you will see that when you are years down the line in the future. So just don't hitch your wagon to a guy who's not going to be able to take you to where you want to go. Just let it be a cute moment and move on. Learn how to date with consideration of like lifestyle first. If somebody is going to be, poor, like dusty, homeless, and broke, you don't need to do that with them. The next thing you want to think about is leveraging your relationships to develop financial literacy. Now, this goes back to the entire thing that I was saying, this long tirade that I started this video about, about how all of these, like affluent families are, sending their Nepo babies to these big, to all of these like Ivy League schools and these, positions where the future leaders of America are going to be made, and they wind up a lot of times, in fact, being the future leaders of America. And the reason that a lot of these people are so financially successful isn't just because of the money, right? There's a reason that they are sending their kids to all of these places where like they're getting all of these opportunities, getting all of this exposure, and it's because of information, right? There is an information economy just as much as there is a financial economy. So you really want to make sure that when you are networking with all of these men who have these affluent families, right, like where everybody in the family is doing well, you want to like take that into consideration and let them like talk to you about money. Let them talk to you about like what you should be doing with your finances. Let them teach you things like about like ways that you can use like a Roth IRA as an investment vehicle. Like this is something that is just not common knowledge for like people who are generally poor, right? If you only have like $400 in savings, like you're just concerned about like not losing your job. You're not concerned about like investments and like returns and whatnot. Like that's just not your priority. But like these people have like an entirely different like state of mind. So you really want to like learn from that and learn all about like financial literacy, like why you are in this situation. Now, the next thing you want to do is prioritize looking good over working hard. Now, if you are on this channel, chances are you are probably an achiever. You probably did very well in high school. And if not, you're working on doing well in college. Like you're just working on doing well in general and like making yourself better. And that's why you are looking for like self-improvement content. But you have to remember, honestly, that as much as you're working on your job, like you need to work harder on yourself. As much as you're working in school, you need to work harder on yourself. So like if something is like taking away like your energy from like being able to like take care of your body, take care of your hair, take care of your skin, you just don't want to like be putting energy into that, because all of that needs to be your number one priority, to be honest. Now, I may sound like, like a 20-year-old bimbo core icon, but in reality, I am very much giving millennial. Okay, she's not young anymore. And I know women, like, let me tell you, who are on the other side of 35, who they lived like that when they were young. They were constantly working. They were not taking care of themselves. They would stay up till like 4 a.m. or stay up for like 2-3 days, like working on their college assignments, and now they're like 35, 37, saying like, I wish I didn't do that. It's too late for me. I've let my looks go. There's nothing I can do now. Like, I have one friend, and yeah, she makes like 6 figures, but she's single. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have any kids. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She hasn't dated in probably like 6 years because like she's just not good looking. Like, she is not in a place where she can really get a quality guy because her appearance is just not there. She let it go for so long, and now it's like the kind of like help that she would need. She would need like laser facial resurfacing and like a surgical facelift, basically. Like, she's just, wrinkled, saggy, all the things because of the unhealthy lifestyle that she led, prioritizing her like college career and then her work career. Like, you get into these habits where you're constantly like stressed and bothered and working all the time, and then years go by. So you don't want to do that. Like, honestly, don't be like her, because if you are a pretty girl who is really like working your social circle, working your networking, and you understand the value of your appearance in addition to the work that you can do, you understand that you can always get a guy to provide for you. And that's the thing. She can never stop. My friend who I was talking about, she can never stop working. She cannot decide like, okay, I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to have a career and just like go live with a guy. But she literally can't do that. Like, she has to work like this and work and work and work and stress the same way that she is for the rest of her life. Meanwhile, if you just open up some options for yourself, you take care of your appearance and you let it do something for you, you're going to have the option to be good looking enough that you can actually attract a quality partner in the future. And don't like underestimate the importance of that, because it is major. And a lot of women who are on the other side of 35 wish that they could go back and do it over. I am telling you from experience. I've been talking for all eternity, but we're getting towards the end here. The next thing on the list is to learn to advocate for yourself at your job. Now, this is one of those things where I really should have learned this much earlier in life than I did. But like, I'm going to start out with like a little bit of a story, and then we're going to start first and foremost by saying like, when you are like, there's like this saying that like you could literally like lay flat on the ground and let people walk all over you, and people would just yell at you for not being flat enough. Like, people are really like that. Like, if you let somebody like take advantage of you, people are going to take advantage of you. If you make it easy for people to do that, they're just going to do it. People are concerned with themselves first and foremost, not you. So that's one of those things that you really need to like learn very early on in life and start to like assert boundaries with other people. Especially if you are going to work, or like you have a job now, or like you want to have a job in the future. Like, you really need to make sure that you're putting up firm boundaries with that job, because they're really good, especially like places that tend to like employ like college girls. They're really good at like preying on like the fact that like you think like you need to do something for them, like you think like you need to make them happy. And that in reality, like, it's just not your job. For example, like back when I was like in college, I thought it would be like really fun to just like, get a job. I had never worked a job before. Like, I literally never had a job growing up. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna go and like be like a hostess at this like restaurant. And it was just like a low value, like a generic like chain restaurant that's like all over America now. Like, it was really not a big deal. But like at the time, like I was, going to school in like the Northeast. And obviously, like when it's like snowing and icy outside, like it's very dangerous conditions. So like one day I was literally like calling in, like, I can't come in. This is like so much ice, and I don't really know what to do. I can't like And they were basically like lobbying me and pressuring me to like come in anyways, and basically saying like either I had to like get somebody to like fill in for me, or like that, or like I had to come in. And I, like being, like I, what, like 19, 20, like I believed them. But in reality, like I should have very much just been like, you know what, no, like it is not my job to like keep your business running. So like, yeah, like you need a hostess, but there's inclement weather. So it means like either one of like your managers is going to have to get out here and like play hostess for the day, or something else is going to happen, because I'm not coming in. I'm not risking my safety to like come in there and do a job for you. And if you want to be mad about that, it is what it is. Like I wish that I had like that kind of like spine when I was like that young, but I just didn't know any better at the time. So like you want to get into a position where like you are asserting your boundaries like very, very early early on, and you're not like letting people, especially like in employment situations, like bully you into doing stuff, because they will if they can. Like, you just have to like look them dead in the face and tell them that, first of all, they need to speak to you in a respectful way, and second of all, you're not going to do anything that compromises your health, your safety, or your well-being. Like, point blank period, you're just not going to. Now, last on the list, but most importantly, pretty please, personally from me to you, do not get pregnant. Don't do it. Now, look, pregnancy is a beautiful thing, and chances are, like, if you are, like, a young, like, feminine woman, like, from, like, a very early age, you probably, like, played with dolls and doll houses, and you probably played, like, house and all that stuff. You maybe, like, played with, like, Barbies and, like, Barbie dream house, like, whatever, and, like, you were kind of, like, indoctrinated, in a sense, into this idea of, like, how cute it would be for you to be a mother and have a baby and to take care of a family. Okay, yeah, that's all great, but look, that is a fantasy. That is a fantasy. It is not at all aligned with the reality of being an unwed single mother. It is just not. No. It's one thing if you're rich, right? It's one thing if you're like, I don't know, like Oprah or like, what's her name? Like Shonda Rhimes. Like Shonda Rhimes had like children all by herself. The thing is, like, Shonda Rhimes is very rich. She has money for help. She has money for childcare. She has money for literally like people to clean her house. If she doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to work. Like, that is all the stuff. But you, if you get pregnant and you become a single mother, that means that the entire time that you're pregnant, you're going to have to work a job, and it's probably going to be like a low value job, like a job that does not pay you that much money if they're willing to like hire and, and like work a pregnant woman, like, which is just the reality. Like, it's hard to get a job in like, like these big corporations, like when you're visibly pregnant, and it's hard to like keep a job there because like other people like in these like big corporations, like F500 companies, like, trust me, I've seen it, been there, done that. Like, other people tend to like move in on your position when you're pregnant. Like, they try to like swoop in to like replace you basically during your maternity leave, and it makes it like very hard to like keep your job the next time like there's like a cycle in the economy, like a recession or something, like a bunch of layoffs. Like, it becomes like a whole thing. But the thing is, like, when you are basically like a single mother, like, you are going to have to, no matter what, like work when you are pregnant. And then like, because like you, at the end of the day, like, you need the money to live, so you have to like work while you're pregnant. And then like after you give birth, you're gonna have to get up and go back to work, because if you don't work, you don't get paid. And that is the thing that people don't talk about enough. It's hard to be a single mother. You're going to have to get childcare all the time because you have to be at work and you probably can't bring your baby to work. You're going to have to, do all sorts of things. You're going to come back home tired at the end of the day and still have to care for a baby, right? You don't have like unlimited energy, like, at the end of the day. So like, if you don't want to be a single mother, if you don't want to be the person who is like responsible for like your household income when you are pregnant, then you have to actually think about that. And beyond that, like, you deserve to have like all the things. Like, you deserve to have the wedding, you deserve to have the proposal on one knee, you deserve to have like your little moment and like really have like the sort of like dream wedding, dream life that you deserve. So you want to make sure that you don't get pregnant with somebody who has not even like made like a basic commitment to you. Go through like all the actual steps and just like wait for things to happen in their own time, because like when you are literally like 20 years old, there is no hurry. When you are like maybe like 35, yeah, there's you're like a little late there, but like when you're like, I don't know, like 19, 20, like, don't worry about it, honestly. Now that's going to be it for me. If you've enjoyed this video, then please check out the rest of the videos on my channel. I talk all about leveling up, hypergamy, femininity, elegance, and all the things that you need to attract the right masculine provider for you. This has been The Feminine Mystery, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.